welcome to Real Voices of Happy Valley. Here we're talking to Angie and Andrew Mossman of Daisy Bank Camp, Blackshore Head. They've won a TV award for their accommodation and they provide massive support for the local economy. Well worth a listen. A bit longer than most of our podcasts, but they talk about their own business and then about the support and development of local businesses in the valley. So we are sitting in a lovely room in Daisy Bank Barn,
yes,
it's called, with Andrew and Angie Mossman. Now, would you like to tell us about this place and what you've got here, and exactly what goes on, what it is?
Well, at the start we bought a Daisy Bank Barn so that my mum, who was old, could actually be in the same house, so we could actually take care of her, and it worked very, very well. We were able to halve off her part of the house, and then we had the other parts. So it worked. It's worked very well. But what came with the house was a large part-built menage and some stables.
A menage?
A menage, where they train horse and all that sort of thing. Yes. Anyway, with both of us, before Angie and I knew each other, we did like to go on holiday, like camping holidays and those sorts of things. And when we when we started dating, we had an old V-dub and we'd go all over. So we've always liked like outdoor style holidays. So we had this part-built menage and these stables, and we thought, well, we're very, very fortunate to be where we are with great open views. Let's make it into a
and they are fantastic views. I'm looking out of this window, looking east, almost wishing it was dawn.
Yeah, we the whole kind of glamping thing had kicked off big time. This is 2017, something like that. 2018, we started to kind of go, well, we had sheep and cows at the time, so we're smallholders. We raised native rare breed, just because we're really passionate about food provenance and passionate about sustainability, and so we kind of thought, well, we'll put our energy and our money where our mouth is and see if we can raise some cows and raise some sheep. So that's what we did, and we've still got the sheep, we haven't got the cows anymore. But yeah, so that whole kind of idea of outdoor living and being out in nature and making the most of it and trying to live a more kind of integrated, holistic life. The idea of building a business around that.
We
really kind of natural, really, didn't it? A natural progression to what we were doing.
That's it. We basically built it for us, or people like us. That was the actual idea behind it. Where would we like to go on holiday? You know, so that's been like the basis of it, right from the word go. So we've gone down that route, but as time's moved on and we've had people come, they haven't been as old as us. They've made us feel quite old. It's outrageous. Young people.
Take that.
What's it today? Young people. Yeah. So that's been a right eye-opener.
Yeah, it has.
Really.
But I mean, if you think about it, there was actually the pandemic in the middle of all of that. So we began the build. It took us 4 full planning permissions to get everything in place that we needed. So that took 18 months. And then we began the build in June 2019. And then obviously, early the next year, So we just got the stables done, basically. We didn't have a road, we didn't have a car park. I don't think we have the water system completely in yet. The electricity cabling was in, but it wasn't coming out to the cabins yet. And we didn't have the honeycomb cabins at all. So when we kind of hit the pandemic in the March 2020, we lost the builders. The builders just kind of went home, locked down, kind of. The building industry could stay open, but most, they had families, they had medical conditions, blah, blah, blah. So we lost everything in terms of the resources. And so we kind of looked at each other and went, right, we have got a completely unusable building site at the moment. We've got no road, we've got no car park, we haven't got most of the services in. We've got some completed stables in terms of building. So we built a digger, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we bought a digger.
Bought a digger,
and Andrew taught himself how to do groundwork and taught himself what we needed to know.
Yeah. See, I spent best part of 20 years buying up houses and actually working on houses, and I trained myself, and I've been on training courses, and I had pieces of paper and things, so I had history. Obviously when teams of trades weren't here, the work did go slow because Angie was in full-time work. I was working part of the time overseas also, so it was only like part of the week I was actually able to do the hands-on sort of work. So it did really slope the building. It did a lot. But at the end of the day, we had people help us. We're able to bring some trades in when things eased, and we're able to all turn up. But it's been a very big learning curve because neither of us had any experience of the actual touristing in the industry.
So that's your big learning curve then.
Yes.
Hospitality.
Yeah, it is.
Did it come naturally to you when
No, we were completely rubbish at the beginning. We
No,
made
we
so many mistakes.
We were terrible.
Yeah. Honestly, we were so naive. We made so many mistakes. My background's in designing customer service operations, so I understand how to make a customer experience really, really wonderful and lovely. So once I've got them, they'll have a fantastic experience. But getting people to find us and to buy from us it's still really hard. It's still the hardest part of the business because it's not like it was in the olden days. In the olden days, when I was in marketing in like the early 1990s, you'd put an advert in a magazine and people would read it and then they'd kind of go, that looks nice, I think I'll go. But these days it's all about your online presence, it's all about your search engine optimization, it's all about keywords sitting in the back end of your website, stuff that neither of us had any idea about. The importance of it and how you can, somebody, kind of a marketing person we spoke to in the early doors says, where's the best place to bury a body? And I'm like, I don't know, so the second page of Google. If I'm not really. I was like, that's very, very profound and image because nobody clicks the next button. If you're not coming up on the first page, people can't find you. So that's been tough. That's still the toughest element of our work, really, finding new ways of more customers finding us and making sure the customers that we have an amazing time.
So when did you welcome your first guests or guests?
So that was we opened the stables first, and that was in August 2021. 2021, that's right. So just over 2 years since we kind of first spades in the ground, so it was a long time.
It might seem it, but I'm sure looking back it's not that long, 2 years, is it?
Well, the irony is that the stables themselves were ready to rock by early 2020, but we didn't have a road, we didn't have the services in, we didn't have the car park, we didn't have the gardens built. So if customers could have been like parachuted in, they'd be absolutely fine and have a lovely time, but they couldn't actually drive here. So that 18 months was all in the ground, muddy, pulling cables through, falling in holes, like having to go 1.5 meters down to get something down far enough so it wouldn't freeze, and then going in the morning and the rain would come overnight, it's bloody caved in.
The accommodation itself, you've got 3 units that used to be stables.
That's it,
Yes.
yeah.
And what are the other 3?
Well, we call them honeycombs, just basically due to the shape, and they are our own design. And now, if that's good or if that's bad, but people seem to think that it works.
Well, it's the people who stay in them who'll decide and tell you whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. So we spent a while working out the and on both the stables and the honeycombs. So we spent when they were just like a bare carcass, we'd have chalk, and we'd chalk out on the floor, and we'd actually lay down, and then how is it to move from here to here? Oh no, you need more room there, and just have a good feel for the actual space. And the honeycombs, we've got 2 glazed sides. Each of the honeycombs points at a slightly different angle. So and when you're in them, they do have their own style and that, both in terms of the actual feel of them looking out, but like the wallpapers, actual colour of them. So they have, and people come and they'll stay in one, then they'll stay in one more, and they said, oh, maybe it's that I like, or that one, and they try them.
Oh, right, so
that's very clever.
Yeah.
So did you have designers in to talk you through it, or architects? Or?
We worked with an architect on the stables, but we were quite clear in what we wanted, so she really kind of just helped us through the kind of the building control and the design in terms of making sure we hit everything we needed to. But I would joke about the fact that I've always loved Hannah Nunn down in Hebden Bridge, her wallpapers and her lamps. When I first moved here 20 years ago, and she just opened Radiance, her first kind of shop presence. Yeah. And I used to live down by the turning circle, so I'd walk into town and I would always pop into Radiance and kind of buy little bits. And then when we decided to do this, I went into Radiance because they were in their second shop, there in our second location. And I said, Hannah, we're gonna make a glamping site, and each one of them's gonna have your wallpaper on the walls. And I said, we haven't even put planning in yet. I've decided on the wallpaper. Because she does beautiful, beautiful work. And I don't know if you know it, but it's all nature based. She absolutely loves being out in nature. So every single one of them has got a different version of her wallpaper in, and they're just huge ferns and little seed heads and all gorgeous things. So we kind of themed each of them around a different colourway, and they've each got the name of a bird. So we've got curlew cabin, we've got tawny and kestrel, skylark, lapwing and linnet, and those are all birds that we see here. And the curlews are just back now. So they've all got a different kind of feel to them, different colourway. And then we worked with Kate Boyce, who's another lovely multimedia artist here. And so we've got one of each of her pieces in the cabins as well. We've got pieces from Julia Ogden. She does a beautiful moon print, so we've got one of those in Tawny Cabin.
Well, it's always celebrating local talent as well as
it is.
getting the job done.
It's so important. I'm just passionate about that, and all of these wonderful people kind of with a real emotional connection to the work that they do, and our ability to kind of showcase that and celebrate that, and actually that kind of builds each of us up. We've got beautiful wallpaper in our beautiful cabins, and we can celebrate those local people doing great things as well. Yeah.
And people who stay can order their own breakfast box, which is brought up on the back by Argo Tail, and they use like meats and things from porkers and things like that. So it's all tiny, you see, all local business, and we're all helping each other. And we've had all sorts of people here, from the area. Yeah.
So people from the area come and stay as well.
Yes, because
for some people it's their set. We've got a lovely couple down in Hebden. This is where they come for each of their birthdays and celebrations, and they're literally in the centre of Hebden, and they're like, oh, is Curlew Cabin available? Such and such has got a birthday, so we're coming up. I lived in Newark before I moved up here. I moved up for a job with H-Bosses, was down in Copley, and I didn't know any better, really. I'd always been quite intimidated by the openness of the moors. And I'm a London girl, and, you know, when you go for a walk, you're walking in a park on some tarmac, and that's a walk kind of thing. So a very different thing in my mind. So it felt quite rural to me, being down on Longstaff Court and walking into this lovely little market town, which was surrounded by trees. Yeah. And then when I met Andrew in 2009, wasn't it? Yeah. He was kind of like, oh God, how can you live at Valley Bottom? And I'm like,
I suppose it was
just taking that extra bit.
I know, like, dragging me to the top of the hill. Our very first date was actually right up on the moors. We met at the Pack Horse. And
it was awful.
It was an appalling day. Yeah. So our first date was taking a stroll, as Andrew called it, on the moors to try and find top withens on early March. It was absolutely howling a gale, wasn't it? We didn't find top withens.
No, we ended up just
Wuthering Heights.
That's it. Top withens. Yeah.
We didn't find it. We walked through various
just ended
bogs.
Up walking all over the
And I'm
place,
just
talking.
like, where the hell am I?
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
I'm suddenly on the moors with a man I don't really know.
That's it.
That's exactly it. And I was thinking, I've just thrown all of my
it was just a day.
first date rules out the window.
Well, you got away with it, Andrew. Well done.
I did. Thank you. Yeah. But it's strange because from being small, even though I'm from just over in Burnley, the first walk that I recall, I must have been probably 5 or 6, something like that, was in Hebden Bridge area, but up on the tops, and I've always felt at home over here. And I worked for a while near Birmingham Airport, and it drove me crazy.
Oh, would do.
And and I bought this poster of Hebden, right? And I put this big poster up on the wall. When Angie and I bought our first house, which is up behind Holden School, I actually pulled out this poster, put this poster up on the wall, and the view was absolutely identical to the poster. So it was obviously just been taken there. That was amazing.
Manifested the house.
That's it. Yeah.
If we go back to the local economy, you've got sort of food, building materials, skills, creativity.
Yes.
But you've also got workshops, yoga workshops, and what have you.
Yeah, that's it.
It's presumably relatively local people running the workshops.
Yeah. Well, I do a workshop to train people how to read maps and basically how to find the way up on the hills. And so far, most of the people who've been have been from this area, but for other workshops, we have pulled in other people from Hebden. We've just had one at the start of the year, which was yoga, and it used sound baths and all sorts of things, and that was a great hit with people.
The thinking about that was, so when we kind of looked at the business and the way that people were utilising the business, kind of weekend visitors coming for a weekend away, that seems to be kind of trolling along pretty well. There's a kind of a steady flow of folks that want to come for a weekend away. But where we had a gap was looking at people coming during the week and trying to look at diversifying the product really in terms of business speak and think about what more can we offer people here? What is it that people love about it here, and what can we add? And also, thank you, Bear. Bear would like us all to know that she's here as well.
She's a gorgeous dog. And she
You
just
are
let out a
beautiful.
big sigh.
Of contentment.
No one's talking to me. But yeah, so things were really, really tough with Andrew's mum. She was in bed for the last year of her life, and with 5 care visits a day, and it was really, really difficult. And obviously, when you're going through something like that, it does affect your mental health. And we were running the business as well. So one of the things that Andrew and I talked about was this idea of him training, using the Mountain Training Association training courses to get himself skilled up so he could kind of officially lead national navigation skiing courses, which is what you just made sound as though you just show people how to walk up a hill, but you actually are a gold standard tutor of national navigation skills.
Oh, excellent.
You'd have appreciated him all the more right at the beginning.
I know.
If you'd known he was a professional.
If he'd been trained properly, we wouldn't have got lost on them. But yeah, so it was this kind of like, it's really sensible to diversify into something that you love anyway. And also, you really did need something else to focus your attention on at that time. It was really, really difficult taking someone through end of life. So it made a lot of sense to us to kind of go, okay, Andrew can, because it's a huge amount of work, you have to do 40 big walks and have them registered and all this kind of stuff. So that was the beginning of it. So it took a year to get trained up, and then we started advertising walking holidays, walking weekends. And then as we did a few of those walk and wild swims, so taking people to Long Bank and up to Gaddings, and that, I mean, for people coming up from London and things, they're just like blown away by that. And then for this year, we really wanted to bring in more of that, some of those fantastic people. So Hannah Brabs for sound baths, Julia Ogden for watercolour. We're doing a midsummer one. We're working with Live Wild, you know, Sophie and Leon.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So I did a forager's journey with them last year. So I did 7 one-day events over the forage calendar, which was incredible. So they're going to come and do an afternoon with the guests. Somebody else called Rachel, who does outdoor yoga in all weathers, called Drew Yoga. So she's coming to do some yoga with people. And then someone called Sophie Caulfield, who grows and weaves willow, is going to come and do a workshop. So we've tried to create like a program of walk and wild swim and creative events during the year that bring people to the accommodation, obviously, because that's the kind of the base product, but actually really showcase so much more of who we are around here and what we are and why people should come and spend time here and kind of see it as that kind of destination. So it's amazing the age range that we get lots of younger people in their 20s and their 30s, and one of the reasons they want to come is because we've got no Wi-Fi and we've got no tellies, and they're actually choosing to disconnect from the screen.
Oh, that's really hard.
I did not know that was going to be a customer base, but it is. They come because it's like, it's brilliant because I can officially tell work, you can't contact me. I've got no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Turn the phone off.
But also, the opposite happens. People who come, there were this pair came and he was saying, "Oh, there's no TVs."
No, it's horrifying.
And his face like dropped. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's how we have it." Anyway, the day after, he says, "Oh, it's been great, hasn't it? We've had a really good time. No telly, just chill. We've read books." And he said, "It's been great, absolutely great."
So that's an achievement you've had there.
It is, and it was. We were talking to people kind of as we're sort of designing the business in the first instance, and most people, we went to a few conferences and things. Most people are like, "Oh no, you got to have telly and Wi-Fi." And we're like, I just feel as though you don't want to have telly on Wi-Fi. That actually this is a place where you can genuinely find so much to do that doesn't involve a screen. And then obviously we hit the pandemic, where all of these people, all they did was look in a box. I mean, I was managing 11 people when we went into lockdown, and I had all these mostly young people all over Manchester suddenly told to go home and not come out again. And these are young lads whose whole lives were based around going out with their mates, you know. And suddenly we were managing big IT projects and change programs through people sitting on their dining table with a laptop on their sofa with books under it, and it was just like, So that whole being disconnected thing, even though we didn't know it at the time, that became so important after the pandemic, and people kind of going, I'm sick of the bloody screen, I'm sick of video conferences, I'm sick of that always on culture, I want something completely different. We were like, we hit upon something completely accidental. Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing I was going to ask you about the business forum.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I say, it's just more links with the local sort of sustainable economy.
Completely. And Alison, who runs Heart Gallery down in Hebden, contacted me because, again, it was one of those shops that I'd always gone in since I moved up. So we'd always had a little chat, and she knew we were doing Daisy Bank Camp at that time. So she got in contact, I think it was October 2023, and just said we wondered if you'd be up for joining the forum committee. You know, we've kind of had the same group of people doing it for a while, and we'd like some fresh blood, some fresh thoughts to come in. And so I did. I went along. I went to a few meetings, and then they kind of went, how do you feel about being chair? So I was like, okay, I think I've been engineered in here.
You've got your roped in now.
Completely. Yeah. But the interesting thing is, and I didn't realise I was kind of needed this really, but I've always had quite big corporate jobs of, you know, run big call centres basically, designed them and run them, and had 500 people when I worked for H Bar.
Wow, so the difference.
I know, massive. Yeah, so I'd had these very big jobs where you're kind of coming up with like 5-year plans and always got projects within that. And once we got Daisy Bank Camp kind of up and running, there wasn't too much in the strategic planning to do anymore. And I didn't realise it, but I actually quite missed that. So when I started to go along to the forum and hear about kind of challenges on the town level and what different businesses were experiencing and what they were worried about, and, you know, floods, that obviously I'd lived through three floods when I was down in town, and kind of seeing the impact on businesses. And then there was this opportunity to actually get involved with supporting those businesses and potentially having something useful to bring from my corporate background and experience. So that's how it happened. So I've been chair for a year now, just over a year. Last January I took over, and I'm just really fascinated by the idea of affecting how a town can operate by bringing businesses together, asking them what's a problem, and then seeing if we can come up with a solution. Because a lot of my background has always been, here's a ginormous problem, we haven't got much money to fix it, what should we do then? And I quite like that. Well, I really like that. I get really stimulated by coming up with a solution to things. I'm quite a, you know, I would have, if I'd been in the Apollo 13 room, I would have, right, let's get the coffee cups, let's see what we're going to do. So that's kind of how I approach all things really. But
that's fantastic.
The forum is a really good opportunity to exercise those skills.
And it sort of maintains a sustainable economy as well.
Yeah. We've really grabbed hold of Totally Locally, which obviously is something that was created in the Valley anyway, 10 years ago. And it was something that I remember being quite a big thing early, and it kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we've done this year is to really re-engage with that idea of totally locally and try and
there's the magic tenner happening.
That's
it.
Yeah. So that was our first campaign, but we're really going to push that whole idea, because I think so many people don't understand that actually if you don't shop in a small local shop, it won't be there anymore. So some of the reasons why you like Hebden won't actually be there anymore if you don't go and have a coffee in that lovely coffee shop once a week or something along those lines. Yeah. So really kind of engaging people, and that magic tenner idea I think is absolutely fantastic, and to show those really sensible economics around it in a very accessible way. So we've got 64 businesses signed up to Magic Tenner.
And you know what, we haven't even touched on, the major thing that you did, which was to win 4 in a bed on Channel 4.
That was the cherry.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
We loved it. Like it anyway.
Yes,
But the one you were on, and it showcased all your accommodation really well, didn't it?
It did, and it has helped us. We still get people that come due to it actually being on for.
I should think so. Yeah.
In a bed, and it really helped us because we'd only been open for a short period of time, so we had to really up our game in terms of like the offering. So it also helped us from that perspective.
We use an online, we found this fantastic piece of software called TouchStay Guides, and they're online welcome guides that I can customise for all 6 of the different units. It's got everything that customers want in there, but I also add all sorts of local information. So if there's if Open Studios is on in the next month or so, I'll tell them about Open Studios and put a link to that.
Yeah, or the pace egging up in Hebden Store or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we can do all of that and all of the kind of how to get here, what to watch out for, don't go up Church Lane, all of it, avoid Mythen Steeps for goodness sake, all of that kind of stuff.
In your HGV.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that's little things like that. So I think the bits that you can control, we control pretty well, and then we just have to hope that what we're putting out there and how we're treating customers is actually turning into business for us, and we do literally. I know that it sounds really trite because everybody says it, but every single time we get a book, you go, what's 3 nights? Oh, it's during the week. It's during the week. It's working. We do. We're kind of 4 years in now, and we do still really, really appreciate it.
Well, that's great. That's been really fascinating.
It has. But if anybody listening wants to contact you or book a holiday or a weekend or whatever here, what do they do?
Yeah, if they go to the website, which is daisybankcamp.co.uk, all the information's on there. So we've got all of the walking retreats and creative retreats, but they can also book into a cabin or just bob up for a brew. We don't mind.
That's nice.
That's lovely. Well, thanks a lot, Andrew and Angie.
Yeah, thanks. It's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.